doing that shirtless protest in the India AI Impact Summit. AI Summit and unemployment had no direct correlation. So it was a strategic opportunity for Congress. I think by this kind of a protest, they lost that strategic opportunity. Congress offered a brilliant opportunity for Mr. Narendra Modi in a platter. He's taking Congress to the launders with this particular situation. The entire issues that summit carried with it will all now be on Congress, and everything that went wrong will go under the carpet, and Congress, what they did, will be highlighted. Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. The question we'll ask tonight is, was Congress wrong? Was Congress wrong in doing that shirtless protest in the India AI Impact Summit? Were they wrong? Did they spoil India's name? Did they embarrass India? These are the questions we will try and answer, but answer very calmly. Let us not get emotional, not get hyper. Let us answer these questions very calmly. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Is protesting wrong? The answer to this question is definitely not. Definitely not. You should be protesting. If you are an opposition, you should be protesting. If you are an opposition, you should be keeping watch on what the government is doing. And if you feel that the government is not right, the government is not acting correctly, you have to protest. There is no statesmanship in saying that, I will sometimes protest, but most of the time support the government. And then, I will be nice. And all this is humbug. All this is when you have to win favors from the government. If you are a true opposition, then your job is to stand and protest if the government is wrong. So protesting per se is actually the duty of an opposition. And it is not something that the opposition does it by choice or, forced to do it or, does it. It's their duty. So protesting is good. Now, let us understand, why did our Congress youth team went and protested? What was the reason they protested? The reason that they protested was that they felt that there's a lot of unemployment in the country. Is that true? Of course it is true. There is a lot of unemployment and it is rising in the country. So they protested because of that. They protested because they thought that the employment process is not transparent enough in India. To some extent, that too is correct. And they said the situation is grave, which it is. So the reason why the Youth Congress went and protested was correct. Now let's talk about, was it correct to protest in that particular venue where India was displaying our AI capabilities, when India was telling the world that we are promoting AI and this is something that we are going to one day take lead in. That was what the summit was all about. At least that was the intention of the summit. They're going and doing a shirtless protest, I thought, was overstretching this entire idea. I thought that for the people, for those youth Congress workers, the protest was more, the way they are protesting it and what that protest will give them and the kind of media mileage they may get out of it was more important than the protest itself, which means fighting or standing against unemployment or talking about unemployment or highlighting the fact that there is rise in unemployment and there is lack of transparency and all that. That point was not as important. It went into the background, and what came into the foreground is what they protested, how they were protesting it. So that protest itself and the venue chosen was absolutely wrong. AI Summit and unemployment had no direct correlation. Unemployment, if they genuinely wanted to talk about it, it could have been done in various other forums, various other venues, and possibly people would have stood by them. But this was wrong. So that's my point number 3. Did that protest work? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. How do you judge whether a protest has worked? How do you judge it? Not because you came on television, not because a lot of people spoke about it, not because media is speaking about it, not because every headline was about that protest. A protest works when there is a change in opinion. If you can ensure that there is a change in public opinion, then your protest worked. Farmer protest worked because farmer protests brought about a change in public opinion, and that change in public opinion ensured that the government repealed the farm laws. So, effective protest brings about a change. Arvind Kejriwal's protest, whether it is right, wrong, otherwise what was the politics behind it, or you keep that aside. But Arvind Kejriwal and that Anna Hazare's protest for India against corruption brought about a change. So that protest was effective. The protest was successful. Did this protest bring about a change? This protest where they went to talk about unemployment, how many other people in this country know that that protest was for unemployment? And to highlight unemployment and to highlight the fact that there is no transparency, how many Indians know about that? Because most of the Indians were busy talking about these shirtless people coming in a venue like this, in an occasion like this, and disrupting the venue. That is what the average Indian speaks about. The average Indian speaks about how the police bait these people into pulp, because they in fact came and disrupted a very important event that was happening, and event that the entire country was looking up to. And that's why this protest is known. The unemployment and the transparency and all took background. Like I said, was all gone. It never got highlighted. So then why the protest? What became famous? Youth Congress, and those people who protested became famous. The protest, the cause itself, nobody speaks about it. So if you ask me, the protest failed, miserably failed. Now let us talk about the protest from a strategic point of view. From a strategic point of view, from a Congress perspective. Let's first talk about Congress perspective, then we'll come to Bharatiya Janata Party perspective. From a Congress perspective, you see, Congress had got more than one reason to protest, thanks to the India AI Impact Summit. Thanks to that, they could speak about how it was organized. They could speak about our famous dog of Galgotias University. Galgotias University, I'm sorry, I mispronounced that name. So Galgotias University, they could have spoken about that. There were a lot of issues that they could have picked up, they could have spoken about, not necessarily in that venue. After the event got over, in various other forums, it would have been a good run-up to the state elections. It could have been a good run-up. So it was a strategic opportunity for Congress. I think by this kind of a protest, they lost that strategic opportunity. I think the Youth Congress members did more disservice to Congress than to help Congress. In fact, Congress will have a lot of cleaning up to do now. Because I don't think even the general sentiments of general people in India are with Congress and Youth Congress and those guys who came and shirtless guys who came and protested. I don't think the public sentiments are with them. So, like I said, other than doing service to Congress, those guys ended up doing disservice to Congress. And the fact that Congress lost a fantastic opportunity to build a beautiful narrative, to build a beautiful reason for a good protest across the nation, especially before the elections, before the state elections, they lost that particular opportunity. This is as far as Congress is concerned. So, Youth Congress didn't help. It harmed. As far as Narendra Modi is concerned and as far as BJP is concerned, Congress offered a brilliant opportunity for Mr. Narendra Modi in a platter, and this is what Mr. Narendra Modi is doing.
समारोह स्थल पर विदेशी अतिथियों के सामने कांग्रेस के नेता कपड़े उतारकर पहुंच गए। मैं कांग्रेस वालों को पूछता हूं, देश तो जानता है आप पहले से ही नंगे हो, फिर कपड़े उतारने की जरूरत क्या पड़ी?
He is taking Congress to the launders. He is taking Congress to the launders with this particular situation, this particular story. And I would say rightfully so, because that's how politics is done. That's what politics is all about. He is not only criticizing Congress, he is not only ridiculing Congress, he is also actually dividing or isolating Congress from the rest of the opposition. I thought that was a very brilliant strategy, by the way. Let me tell you that. Let's call a spade a spade. It's a brilliant strategy. So, somewhere down the line, what could have been advantage Congress the particular summit that was organized, and which is not the best of summits that we had till date. There were a lot of flaws in that particular summit. Congress lost a great opportunity to talk about all of that and ended up where they are today, where that entire summit, the entire problems, the entire issues that summit carried with it will all now be on Congress, and everything that went wrong will go under the carpet, and Congress, what they did, will be highlighted for the next 3-4 months. This is the biggest strategic error that Congress made in the last maybe few months. The biggest strategic error. Why I always said that Vote Chori was a fantastic campaign. No matter who said what, Vote Chori was a fantastic campaign. It caught on, it got Congress back. And if today, Mr. Narendra Modi is going everywhere and talking against Congress, is because Congress has been and is the most potent competition to Bharatiya Janata Party. Otherwise, Mr. Narendra Modi wouldn't have wasted his breath on criticizing Congress. The fact that he is because Congress is relevant and Congress is picking up. The fact remains that one of the things that Congress actually got together and developed that teeth is because thanks to Vote Chori. Thanks to Vote Chori. That is what gave Congress that biting power, that sting. And that was a fantastic campaign. And as good as a campaign that was, this particular campaign has pulled them down. This is my opinion on the shirtless protest. And till we see you next time, that's tomorrow at 10. Namaskar.